All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to Moto 2 for Calgary. Unique little. I like the podium spot on this track. So gonna be going into Moto 2 here. Get that invert, which obviously the invert doesn't have as big of an impact. I mean, it'll still have an impact, but with the smaller lobby tonight, it's obviously not going to have as big of an impact. So that's one of the things here. It may not be as cheesy of a Moto 2 as we're used to seeing and used to like expecting, but we'll see. You never know. So let's go through the order. It's going to be Camby, Vulcan, Opix, Roman, Soul, and Slaunch, and then Luke bringing up the solo row 3. All the way back here. And wait on the nade. There's the nade out. And we're green for another 25 laps, 50 checkpoints here at Calgary. Everybody dives into that early chicane. One driver going for the earliest Joker. We'll get an update on who that was. Based off history, it could definitely be Vulcan, but we'll see here in a minute. It's not Vulcan. Vulcan's battling for the lead here with Camby, so we know it's not Vulcan here. Some alt line, Soul. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. Hits the rock on the entry. That costs him a lot. And I just want to see real quick. Is it Roman? Has to be Roman, right? So there's Roman. Roman went for the early Joker. Vulcan leads the first lap down. Interesting. Vulcan goes for it. Takes the lead and then goes for it. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to see how that plays out. I think Slaunch goes for it there as well. I believe he does. So yeah, it's Soul back there. So this is Opix and Luke. So Opix in second place right now. Getting the crossover. So this is going to be a close battle between him and Luke here for second place. Different lines in the rollover there. Battle's close. We're going to watch this alt line battle. Try to watch both these battles on track right here. Looks like Luke's going to get the spot for second, and Roman's going to get the spot over Vulcan here for fourth, and they both used Jokers. Interesting. So Opix goes for his Joker now. Vulcan's going to get that other one out of the way. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. Vulcan takes the lead on track and then just goes for the Joker immediately. That is a ballsy move. To be fair, is this it? Aww. And Camby's out. Camby's out. That was not a stylish full send. Camby is out again for the, I don't know, week in a row. I don't know if it's actually in a row, but it feels like it. But yeah, the Canada Air just too much for him. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Camby's connection or his Xbox or whatever. But that's unfortunate that it's happening to him every week. So hopefully he can get that figured out. I feel like it didn't used to happen to him that much, and now it's been like super frequent. So I don't know why it's all of a sudden been like so much worse, but happens again, and it sucks because Camby was in a pretty good spot on track, had the lead there, had the lead by a decent gap. Like that's unfortunate. So now Luke's gonna have the lead. Roman's gonna have second on track at the moment. Slaunch third. And then we're trying to get updates here. Soul going for it on Opix. Soul trying to recover from not a great start to the race. That tumble was not what he was hoping for. It's going to be a brutal comeback for Soul in this one, I think. So Roman going for his second Joker. Pretty confident in that. Let's take a look here. Doesn't quite get the angle on the apex on that turn properly. But still a pretty decent Joker run. And still should be pretty good for him. So he's going to come out behind a lot of people, but you got to think, again, Roman, one of the first drivers done. I think Vulcan is that other one, and they come out side by side. Oh, and Vulcan just gets a little too much of a wheelie, and Roman's going to have the spot. And again, that's the done with Jokers battle. Like, that's a legit position battle. I'm pretty sure they're the ones that are done with those Jokers. And Opix get take his Joker as well, maybe, or get cheesed. I'm not sure on that one. Okay, so that's the lead. This is second, but Luke still has yet to take a Joker. I'm pretty sure Slaunch has taken one. Oh my god. What was that? What was that? I'm pretty sure Slaunch has taken one, I want to say. I don't know if Soul's taken any. I feel like Soul hasn't taken any. Roman's taken both. So we're getting some pretty interesting Joker strategy in this Moto 2. Try to follow it the best that we can because we're definitely getting some more varied Joker strategy, it feels like, in this Moto 2, even with only 6 drivers remaining. Yeah, we're getting quite a bit of spice in that department, so we'll have to keep watching those on-track battles and watching how it develops, because I feel like it's going to be very weird this race with how that goes. Soul might have taken one. I'm honestly not sure at this point. If he has, that's insane. Like, that's an insane recovery. That's the only reason why I'm questioning whether he has, because that lap 1 flip was so brutal. Like, he definitely lost a ton of time off that. But it's possible. But it's back to him and Slaunch battling for second and third already, which is kind of funny. Which might not be the case. Again, Roman is in a good position on track. Like, Roman with both Jokers done, Roman virtually might be in second place on track right now. Like, Roman is in a good spot. So, like, based on the gaps and with the Jokers that have been taken, that's what I'm thinking right here. So, I'm not sure, like, how much of a gap that he will have it by. I'm not sure about that. But it's looking good. It's looking really good for him. Soul gonna go in for it. He's gonna take his Joker right there. So Soul taking, I want to say his first. I'm not 100% positive on that. Could be wrong. Maybe he did have a really good recovery. We'll find out soon enough when things work out. Then we'll figure it out pretty quickly. But either way, gonna exit behind Vulcan there. I mean, other drivers have suffered some cheese too. It's definitely possible. Let me see. Yeah, it's definitely possible. I'm thinking maybe he did just have a good recovery. I think that's probably his second, but we'll see how it works out. I would make that adjustment. I would say that probably was his second Joker. Also just had a really good recovery, because that crash was brutal on lap 1. So this is like a recovery race for Soul, but so far so good. And it definitely helps that I think he has some pretty good pace on this track. Like, he's looked pretty fast. Oh my goodness. The pack's starting to get closer. We're starting to get some sends. And I believe Slaunch took his Joker right there while I was trying to figure out the Joker situation. So I believe Slaunch took his Joker. So I think that's what it is. I think Slaunch and Soul just took their second, and that makes sense because they're behind Roman and Vulcan. And based on how the race has gone, I would think that they would be there because Slaunch had some bad lag issues and Soul had a really bad lap 1 flip. So that makes sense. So Slaunch and Soul take both their Jokers. They come out in that order, Slaunch and Soul. But in 4th and 5th, and again, these were guys competing for the podium last race, so we'll see if they can make that drive up there. Just having as good of a start in this Moto 2. And yeah, Roman in a really good spot. Roman in a great spot. Like, in second place, both the Jokers complete. Roman is in a fantastic spot for a podium, and that would be very nice for him because he is... I think he still has, as long as he makes the last 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure he can still get a full schedule in. I'm, like, pretty sure. But he won't have any mulligans, I think. I'm, like, pretty certain on that, too. So Roman's in a spot where, like, he's actually had a decent season when he showed up. It's been some of his better hog performances. But he's just not going to have that mulligan advantage that other drivers will have. So it's going to be really interesting to see where a Roman comes out. And we're trying to watch both of these battles because it's looking like, funnily enough, it's the same pairs of drivers. It's looking like Roman and Vulcan and Slaunch and Soul are going to be the battles, but for flipped positions in Moto 2. It's looking like that's what we're witnessing in this Moto 2 as we're about halfway through it. But yeah, funnily enough, oh, that was close. That was close. Funnily enough, we're getting a rewind of Moto 1 just in flopped position. Soul sending it to the inside. Trying to get that run on the rollover. Soul and Slaunch, this battle is back on, but this time it's for 4th place. And Soul doing a good job. He's getting that run on the outside, sending it to the inside, sending Slaunch wide, and there it is. He's going to be able to make that pass. And again, I think with the ability to do that, with the send drivers wide over that jump, it just makes it a little bit better of a passing opportunity. So, yeah, I think that was one of the better changes to the track that we made before we raced this. I think that just totally got turned into a passing zone, whereas, you know, previously it just wasn't. So, proud of myself for that one. Shout out Sean Six, Asian Sensation, getting online. Shout out. Take a quick shout out. But Roman's still running in second, but Vulcan chasing him down. He's going to have to make the pass, though. Soul already gaining quite a bit. Now he's gotten by Soul has really good pace on this track. Like, he's got great pace. Obviously, his chances of winning this Moto 2 were kind of gone with that wreck, but his pace on this track has honestly been very good. And in the last couple weeks, in general, like, he had solid pace at Phlegathon as well, but specifically the last 2 rounds. This track, the Canada tracks, for whatever reason, Quebec and this track, Calgary, he's had really good pace. These have been really good tracks for him for whatever reason. which I think makes a little bit of sense because Soul tends to be better at the GP, the more GP-like tracks, I feel like, in general. And these two Canada tracks are like that. They both, well, had no terrain action at all and are very, very GP-like. These tracks feel like almost like GP tracks with a little bit of RX sprinkled in, whereas, the other tracks were the opposite. The other tracks were like RX tracks with a little bit of GP sprinkled in, so a little bit different there. But that kind of is what I'm thinking. Oh, here we go. Battle on for second. But I'm thinking maybe that's why these tracks favor him a bit, and it's, I don't know, either way, I mean, it's working out. He's been very strong at them. And yeah, look at the gap. I mean, look at how much he's gained on Slaunch, and look at how much he's gained on second and third. Like, Soul is on a charge and genuinely might have a shot at, I'm thinking, like, second place. Like, especially if Roman and Vulcan keep battling like this, like, he might have a shot of getting back in second this race because his pace is just on that level. So Soul, yeah, trying to make a late season charge, and there's definitely some points up for grabs, and some positions to take there. Like, again, like, the lead is kind of checked out at this point, and like the last few spots in the season are kind of like settled, but the middle is like all up for grabs. There's so many different positions available in the middle of the pack, and there's so many different points battles going on there. It's gonna be like, even going into the last round, like, we might have a picture. But even then, there's 3 whole motos left in that last round. So I think there's going to be a lot of points battles that'll still be going into that last race. Mulligans are going to be important, too. Mulligans are going to be super important. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. Trying to see how close we are. We're getting, like, to 7 laps to go, I think, here. So getting pretty close to the end of the race here. 25 laps, but again, it's such a fast lap time. Like, the races on Calgary go by so quick. Last couple laps, Roman maybe picking up the pace a little bit, gaining a little bit more on Vulcan. Vulcan's starting to fall off a little bit. Soul still just trying to inch in there. Slaunch is falling back quite a bit. Not sure what kind of issues he's having there, but kind of settling into that 5th place. Going to need some help to gain some more spots in this one after a really strong Moto 1 out of him. There it... Oh! Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Look at this. Roman... taking that alt line. And you can see he cuts it very tight. And I think he probably just thought he could have gotten there, but he just didn't quite get there. And Vulcan just trying to make that last second, like, send to the inside and just wasn't quite able to get there. Get stuffed up, and that's unfortunate. Now Vulcan gonna lose the chance at battling with Roman again, possibly this moto. But Soul takes the spot. Soul takes advantage, and now... Slaunch is not that far off. So if Soul and Vulcan kind of get after it a little bit, I mean, that could open up the door for Slaunch to get some of these spots back too. So race definitely not over yet. But one thing's for certain, that incident, I would think, probably locked up first and second pretty well. I think Luke and Roman first and second should be pretty well locked up after that incident. Oh, what was that? What was that? All right, let's go on board with Vulcan here. And yeah, Vulcan getting aggressive, still going for it. You get just a very aggressive send. All of them did it. And Vulcan got a wheelie there again. And he kind of like landed on Soul a little bit. So that kind of like got him unsettled. And Soul makes a little bit of rock contact. The mistakes are happening. Oh no! I keep having to go to replays. What is happening in the second half of this race? Slaunch seeing the opportunity here, I think, and trying to get these spots back this moto, and that just did not work out. I mean, I think... Like, I don't know. I think Slaunch just, like, caught up to Vulcan right there, like, way faster than he thought he was going to. And he ended up kind of, like, spinning out, trying to get that proper, like, drift line on the jump right there. I think he just got to him way faster than he expected, probably, is what happened there, if I had to imagine. It's right there, right? Yeah, so 4 laps to go. I think Luke just finished second Joker, so that's the gap between him and Roman. Honestly, not that bad. Honestly, not that bad. Roman did a nice job of not staying too far off. That's a pretty decent gap right there. But still a pretty strong one. So, unless some crazy mistakes come out here, I think both the first 2 spots, I think Luke and Roman both should be pretty locked at this point, unless we have any type of rock cheese like we saw last minute at the end of this moto. Unless something like that happens, I think both those spots should be pretty well locked at this point. Vulcan's really going for it. He's really going for it, but as you can see right there, I don't think those aggressive sends are helping him. He's losing so much on the exit right there. Got to get close and then make the Goomba happen. 3 laps to go. But with how much Slaunch lost, I mean, that's the only real potential battle on track left at this point. Is that 3rd place podium battle between Soul and Vulcan. Yeah, this will be a nice one for Roman. This will be a nice one for him. Getting a 2nd place here, and again, like I said, with his mulligan situation being the way it is, be a really nice finish for him in 2nd, and we'll see how it works out for the overall points as well. So 2 laps to go now. See if Vulcan can bring it back. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to. Might need some help there. Might need a mistake out of Soul, but right now, we had some spicy action in the middle there in those last few laps, but right now, again, unless some rock action happens, unless some big mistake on the rollover or something like that, like a miscalculated send, something like that. Unless something like that happens, this race is looking pretty settled for all the positions at this point, is kind of what I'm thinking here. And there we go, white flag one more time around. One more time around for Luke. Gonna try to take the sweep on Calgary. Roman gonna try to take maybe another top overall position for him. He had a decent finish in the first moto, and 2nd place here might set him up for that. Committing to that alt line. That's something I respect out of Roman. He committed to the alt line. Like the only person that committed to it like throughout the entire night. And it actually worked out for him here in the 2nd moto. Oh my god, the send. What the hell? That was definitely Slaunch. Slaunch went for it. There's the race. It's going to be Luke, Roman, Soul, Vulcan, and Slaunch. And then Opix is, of course, going to be bringing it up in 6th place. And, of course, Camby with the lag out. It's going to be, just kind of the guaranteed 7th place here in that 2nd moto. So, unfortunate on that. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. I like that. I like that. Special crossing the line. We will count that. We will count that. There you guys go. There's the order. I'll give you the overall results real quick. Okay, so overall it's going to be Luke with 34, and then Roman taking the tiebreaker. That 2nd moto was huge for him. So Roman taking the tiebreaker over Soul. Soul got 3rd in both motos. Roman got the 4-2. Takes the tiebreaker, 28 points apiece. Roman and Soul both leaving the night with 28 points. Slaunch just barely missing out on the cut right there. 4th place, 27 points. Still a pretty good point haul for him, though. And then Vulcan 5th place with 24. Opix not too far off. Had a really good first moto there, 23 points. 6th place overall. Camby 7th overall with 20. Yeah, that sucks because Camby was in a good spot. Like, Camby, I think, would have been in the mix. I think he would have had, like, a top 5 at least. Like, at least. But honestly, like, should have been fighting for the podium with, like, how big of a gap that Camby had right there. So that's tough. That's unfortunate. So yeah, hopefully Camby can get that fixed up, or I don't know if there's anything that he could do about it, but if there is, hopefully we can get it figured out and settle that up. So we'll do a recap video separately because now that we're getting close to the end here, and we'll probably getting like an idea of what the mulligans are looking like as well, with only 2 rounds left. Like, we should be getting a pretty good idea on that. So yeah, we should have like a pretty clear picture of like what the points battles are, what they're looking like what the gaps are looking like, who's battling who, for what positions, what exactly are the gaps there. We should have a good look at all that. So we'll probably do a recap there, and then let next race rock, and then we'll probably do one going into the last race as well. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Lagavulin is the next race. That is another very short track. We have three short tracks back to back, and that one's going to be cracked again. I think that should be a pretty crazy race. Hopefully we'll have everybody back in for that one. Don't want to miss that one because that track is really going to challenge the drivers. Like, I think the most out of any of the tracks on the schedule, in my opinion. It's going to be very brutal. I think it's going to lead to some good battles. I think it's going to lead to some big sends. And probably some big cheese, to be honest. Like, there's gonna be some weird things that happen, I bet, on that track, just because of how hard it is and how difficult that track is. So I think we'll see lots of mistakes out of these guys. I think we'll see some good stuff emerge from that. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, definitely don't want to miss that one. Only 2 tracks left on the regular season. Been a fun one. Glad we finally get to do this ARC season. You guys have been enjoying it too. Again, don't miss that next week, and I'll see you guys there.